Reliever Roundup and Bullpen Bonanza is brought to you by Sport Relay. Honest, unbiased, and apolitical. Sport Relay, your connection to the diamond. And by A Complete History of the Major League Baseball Playoffs, Volumes 1 and 2 by Evan Thompson. Relive the glory, A Complete History of the Major League Baseball Playoffs. This week on Reliever Roundup and Bullpen Bonanza, we look at the top relief pitching stories from around the league over the span of Week 12. Two of the top relievers in the National League have been suspended. We go through some injury updates. We update the Drew Pomeranz ticker. We reveal our latest team power rankings for each league and our individual middleman, setup man, and closer power rankings for each league. And we have a visit with our special guest, Baseball Writers Association of America member Jesse Friedman. Don't go away. Reliever Roundup and Bullpen Bonanza begins now. Welcome to Reliever Roundup and Bullpen Bonanza. I'm your host, Evan Thompson, Editor-in-Chief, National Writer, and Athletics Writer at Sport Relay. I also wrote these two books. A Complete History of the Baseball Playoffs, Volume 1, The Pre-Divisional Tiebreakers through 1976, and Volume 2, 1977 through 1984. If you haven't bought them yet, please do it. Just go to the link in the description box, go to the site, and order them. That'd be great. I would be very grateful. We have just completed the 12th week of the 2025 season. Our statistics include all games through the end of play on Wednesday, June 18th. Let's take a look at some of the biggest stories from the past week in the world of relief pitching. Our top story of the week actually happened after our stat cutoff. We are taping this on Friday, June 20th, and late this afternoon Pacific time, two of the top relievers in the National League were suspended. Pittsburgh Pirates setup man Dennis Santana has received a 4-game suspension for aggressive behavior toward a spectator Thursday night at Comerica Park in Detroit. There are two videos of this incident floating around on X, formerly Twitter. Here is the first, a close-up. And here is the second, a wide shot. The other suspension went to San Diego Padres closer Robert Suarez. He received a 3-game suspension from the league for intentionally hitting Shohei Ohtani in Thursday night's win over the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. His drilling of Ohtani came a half inning after Padres superstar Fernando Tatis Jr. took a hard fastball off the wrist, an incident that sparked a bench-clearing, shall we say, discussion. Both Santana and Suarez are appealing their suspensions, so they will remain eligible to play until after their hearings. Now for some injury news. The Athletics placed right-handed middleman Grant Holman on the 15-day injured list with rotator cuff tendinitis on Thursday, June 19th. The Cincinnati Reds placed right-handed setup man Graham Ashcraft on the 15-day injured list with a strained groin on June 17th. Right-handed New York Mets middleman Max Kranick went on the 15-day injured list June 19th, retroactive to June 16th, with a strained elbow. Right-handed New York Yankees middleman Yerry De Los Santos went on the 15-day injured list June 19th with elbow discomfort. And left-handed Chicago White Sox middleman Cam Boozer went on the 15-day injured list with a strained shoulder on June 20th. That was earlier today. Holman and Ashcraft are expected to return in July. For everyone else, there is no timetable for their return. Here is another proverbial punch in the stomach for the downtrodden Arizona Diamondbacks relief corps. During his pregame session with reporters Friday afternoon, Arizona Diamondbacks manager Torey Lovullo revealed that wounded left-handed setup man A.J. Puck will need elbow surgery and will miss the rest of the 2025 season. And finally, the Drew Pomeranz ticker. As of Wednesday, June 18th, he still has not allowed an earned run in a Major League game since July 27th, 2021, against the then Oakland Athletics. His scoreless streak is up to 25 appearances. Additionally, he has not allowed an inherited runner to score since April 16, 2021 against the Los Angeles Dodgers. And finally, he has not allowed an earned run on the road since September 25th, 2020 at San Francisco in the second game of a doubleheader. The time before that, September 28th, 2019 at Colorado. Truly extraordinary. We will go through the team power rankings when we come back. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Reliever Roundup and Bullpen Bonanza. It is time for the Team Relief Corps Power Rankings. They include every pitch thrown in relief by a player wearing said uniform, excluding position pitchers. This table shows the scoring breakdown. Teams are ranked in clutch, run prevention, base runner prevention, and command, weighted as shown. The final score determines the ranking. 0 means right at league average in every category. Positive is better than average, negative is below average. A score of 100 means the team is 100% better than the league average. A score of 50 is 50% better, and so on. Each whole number equals 1 percentage point. Statistics run through the end of play on Wednesday, June 18th. We will start with the number 30 team and work our way to number 1. American League teams will appear in red. National League teams will appear in blue. The first number in parentheses after the team name is their rank within their specific league, National or American League. The number after the comma indicates the change in their major league rank since our last episode, which was week 11. Here we go. Our first group is Pray for a Blowout Win. This includes 2 teams. At number 30, unchanged from week 11 with a score of negative 14.2 is the Chicago White Sox. And number 29, after falling 2 spots, with negative 12.2, is the Washington Nationals. The next group, stock up on Tums, has 4 teams. Number 28, unchanged from week 11, is the Atlanta Braves, scoring negative 9.8. At number 27, with negative 7.9 and falling 5 spots, is the Arizona Diamondbacks. Coming in 26th, with negative 7.0 but climbing 3 spots, is the Los Angeles Angels. And at number 25, unchanged from week 11, with negative 6.1, is the Colorado Rockies. In the lots of work to do group, we have 4 teams. Number 24, after climbing 2 spots, with negative 4.0, is the Milwaukee Brewers. With a negative 2.7 is our number 23 team, one that climbed a spot, the St. Louis Cardinals. Finishing the week 22nd after climbing one spot, with negative 0.5, the Baltimore Orioles. And our number 21 team, unchanged in rank from week 11, with 2.1, the Texas Rangers. Isn't that crazy how the number 21 team had a score of 2.1, so both of them have a 2 and a 1 in it? Moving on. Slightly below average has 5 teams. Number 20, after falling 3 spots, is the Detroit Tigers with a score of 3.8. 19th, with no change in ranking from week 11 after a score of 5.5, is the Athletics. In 18th, after climbing 2 spots, with negative 5.9, the Tampa Bay Rays. At number 17, after climbing a spot, with 7.85 rounded to 7.9, the Pittsburgh Pirates. And coming in 16th, after dropping 2 spots, with 7.88, also rounded to 7.9, is the Keystone State companion, the Philadelphia Phillies. Slightly above average, also has 5 teams. Number 15, after falling 4 spots, with 8.6, the Toronto Blue Jays. At number 14, after climbing 2 spots, with 8.7, the Los Angeles Dodgers. Coming in 13th, after falling 1 spot, with 9.0, the Minnesota Twins. In 12th, after climbing 3 spots, with 9.6, the New York Yankees. And number 11, after climbing 2 spots, with 10.9, the Cincinnati Reds. The very good has 1 team in this go-around. At number 10, the same rank as week 11, is the Seattle Mariners after earning a score of 18.0. Our next group, better take an early lead, has 3 teams. Number 9, after falling 2 spots, is the Kansas City Royals with 22.8 points. At number 8, unchanged from week 11, the Houston Astros with 24.4. Rounding out the trio is the number 7 San Diego Padres, who fell 3 spots after scoring 26.5. The next group, the Elite, has 5 teams. Number 6, after falling 3 spots with 29.7, is the New York Mets. Coming in 5th after climbing 4 spots with 30.9 is the Chicago Cubs. In 4th, after climbing 2 spots with 32.3, is the Boston Red Sox. 3rd, with a score of 32.9, is the top relief unit in the American League, the Cleveland Guardians. And in 2nd, after climbing 1 spot with 33.5, the Miami Marlins. And after climbing a spot, number 1 by a significant margin, we're talking Secretariat in the Belmont here, with 53.1, is the top relief corps in the National League, der Uberbullpen, the San Francisco Giants. The biggest gainers in this edition of the rankings are the Cubs, who climbed 4 spots, and the Angels, Marlins, and Yankees, who each gained 3 spots. The biggest drops came from the Diamondbacks, who fell 5 spots, the Blue Jays, who fell 4, and the Tigers, Mets, and Padres, who each fell 3. We will be right back with our guest, Jesse Friedman. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Reliever Roundup and Bullpen Bonanza. I am here with longtime Diamondbacks writer and podcaster, current host of Snakes Territory, BBWAA writer, spent 3 seasons at PHNX. He's now one of MLB.com's writers who fills in when the main beat writers can't cover a game for whatever reason. Knowledgeable Major League Baseball guy and a dear friend, Jesse Friedman. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. It's good to be here. I'm excited. For people who aren't aware, I mean, I guess people probably do because you're watching this video, but Evan knows all of the things about the bullpen. I don't think I will ever know nearly as many things as Evan does about the inner workings of Major League bullpen. So I feel like I'm in great company today, Evan. So it's a good time. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you, Jesse. That was quite kind of you. I appreciate that. Spread the word. So, one of our top stories of the week was the Diamondbacks and their continued struggles in relief. It was another brutal week for them. You made a tweet on Twitter a little bit ago. We're recording this at 4:39 Pacific on Friday. This came, about an hour ago, where you listed every single member of the Diamondbacks pitching staff that is on the injured list from the 40-man roster. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I think the story of the Diamondback season kind of starts and I don't want to say ends with this list, but this list has certainly played a big role in why the Diamondbacks are where they are. The list, I'll just read it off real quick. It's AJ Puck, Justin Martinez, Corbin Burns, Jordan Montgomery, Blake Walston, Christian Montes de Oca, Tommy Henry, Jeff Brigham, Dre Jameson, Christian Mena, and Kendall Graveman. And I think what's maybe even more noteworthy here, Evan, is the first 7 names that I read off are all expected to miss the entire season. Those guys are not going to come back at all. Puck, Martinez, Burns, Montgomery, Walston, and Henry all have had or are about to have season-ending elbow surgery. So with those guys, you're talking about not only missing the rest of this season, but missing, a good portion of next year as well. So yeah, this Diamondbacks team, their pitching staff in particular has really been decimated by injuries. And when it comes to the bullpen, I mean, we really expected AJ Puck and Justin Martinez to kind of be the anchors at the back end and maybe turn this Diamondbacks bullpen into at least a decent group. It felt like it had that potential going into the season. What we've seen in reality is one of the worst bullpens in Diamondbacks history.
And that's saying a lot given how much they struggled in 2021.
Yeah.
Oh man. And yeah, Puck was their setup man, a stud setup man, one of the best relievers in baseball ever since the Diamondbacks traded for him. And then Martinez was the closer of the future. They signed him to a 7-year deal of what, 8 figures in the offseason?
Yeah, I'm adding up my numbers here. I guess, yeah, I think that would be 8 figures. It was 5 years, 18 million, I think was the guarantee, but then there's some other options and whatnot on top of that. And the D-backs will actually get an additional club option because Justin Martinez is having this elbow surgery or has already had this elbow surgery. That was one of the provisions in the contract. So yeah, I mean, there's still a number of years to go with that. But it also is Justin Martinez's second Tommy John. And as well as I do, Evan, that, second Tommy John, the track record there is usually not very good.
Right, and the Diamondbacks have had terrible luck when it comes to relief pitchers being signed as free agents, going all the way back to the beginning.
Yeah.
As far as free agent relief pitchers go, the only one I can really think of that had success over multiple seasons after signing here as a free agent was J.J. Putz. He had 3 great years, and then all of a sudden, in his own words, he couldn't get a high school hitter out. And I talked with him a couple years ago about it, and he said, I didn't feel any different. My pitches didn't behave any differently. All of a sudden, I just couldn't get anybody out. It was really frustrating. Do you think that the fact they've had such rough luck signing relief pitchers has been a big reason why they're so hesitant to dedicate a lot of money in that direction?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a combination of factors. I think I mean, I think they're kind of connected, right? Like, I think part of the reason they haven't had great luck with their free agent signings when it comes to the bullpen is that they haven't spent that much money. I mean, I haven't taken a look at this super recently, but I believe Mark Melancon is still maybe the biggest contract that the Diamondbacks have ever given to a relief pitcher. That was true as of a couple years ago. I believe
It
it's
still
still
is.
true.
It still
Yeah,
is.
yeah. So I mean, Mark Melancon, I think that was a 2-year, $14 million deal, something in that range. Really pretty modest for a back end reliever, and obviously that deal is one of many in Diamondbacks history that did not wind up panning out for them at all. So yeah, I mean, I think, and on some level, you can understand the Diamondbacks' hesitance to spend in this area because, as you well know, these guys are it's the most volatile position in all of sports, right? The bullpen, and so you can understand the D-backs not wanting to throw 4 or 5 years at the Josh Haders and Tanner Scotts of the world and whatnot. The track record on those deals isn't great either. But it feels like the D-backs have maybe been a little bit too conservative. And that coupled with the fact that they've really struggled to develop those guys internally has led to a bullpen that just year after year seems to be near the bottom of the league.
When the Diamondbacks have had success bringing someone in, it's always with a midseason trade. Now, with Melancon, before we
Yeah.
go into that idea, can't really blame the Diamondbacks for going for him, though, because he had just finished the previous year as the top closer in the National League. He led the league in saves the year before, and they weren't fool's
Right.
gold saves either. Most of them were two-run or one-run victories. And then he came here, and I say here because we're both recording this from a suburb of sunny Phoenix, Arizona, where we have an extreme heat warning. So,
Always.
Melancon had just had a very nice season, and they rewarded him with that, and then it completely blew up. But with the midseason trades, you look at guys that came over here and had success. They had Matt Manti was the very first real big one they did. They brought Manti over here, got him to the 99 postseason. Still the only time in franchise history they won 100 games. Granted, Manti had a shoulder issue later, but he still had a lot of success when he was pitching. Valverde, they developed their own, but then
Yep.
didn't want to pay him, let him go. Kim, they developed their own. People focus too much on the World Series, I think, ignoring the fact that in '01 and '02, the guy was an absolute stud. They don't even win the division without Kim, let alone get to the World Series. They also forget that he was on the mound when the Diamondbacks clinched the pennant. Minor detail. But another midseason trade that brought him a lot of success in the relief corps was when they brought in Paul Sewald. Because when he got here, it settled in, settled guys into their roles. Addition of Ryan Thompson also helped that year. That
Yeah.
got him a pennant. Again, people focus too much on the game-tying home run in Game 1 of the World Series, but was that Seager or Garcia? I mixed the two up. I think it was Seager.
Yeah, I
Yeah, because
know.
Garcia hit the one in extras off Miguel Castro.
Right.
Right, okay.
Yeah, Garcia hit the one against Castro. Yeah, Seager just destroyed. It wasn't just Paul Sewald. Seager just destroyed the Diamondbacks as a whole that entire series. It was not pretty.
Whenever Seager's in the World Series, he reaches another level. It's unbelievable. Still to
Yeah.
this day, the only player to win World Series MVP in both leagues. So,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. The Diamondbacks week this past week. So this past week, after they got the injury news and Shelby Miller became the closer, even though really he's a setup man, but somebody had to do it, and he was the best candidate for the job, let's be honest. Who else would Torrey have put in there to close?
Yeah, Shelby's the guy at this
Yeah,
point.
Shelby's the guy. In this past week, they had one goose egg and three broken eggs. That's the worst ratio in the majors.
Hmm.
1 divided by 3. So their ratio is 0.3 to 1. Remember, league average is 3 to 1, 3.0 to 1. So it was the inverse of the league average. Their scoreless outing percentage was 52.9%. Major league worst. League average is 73. Their ERA minus, for the viewers, ERA minus, remember, 100 is league average. If you're below league average, that's good. If you're above league average, not good. So you want it to be low. Lower the better. Theirs was 200. The
Not great.
second worst in the National League. Oh yeah, it wasn't the Major League worst. That went to the Athletics. Theirs was like 206 or 208 or something like that.
There you
Um,
go.
but with the Athletics, their pen is very young.
TJ McFarland is the lone veteran in their pen. He has more years of service than the rest of the pen combined. I'm dead serious. They did the math on it and told me this. Um,
That's a great nugget. I love that.
oh yeah, yeah. Justin Sterner brought it up to me, and I talked to Mitch Spence about it the next day. He's like, "No, we did the math. We like somebody pulled out his phone and did a calculator thing, and we added it up. He really is." I went, "Wow," but I digress. So, anyway, the Diamondbacks was 200. The second worst team in the National League, their ERA minus was 186. The Diamondbacks reliever whip over the past week was 1673.
Not great.
Worse than the National League. Remember, league average is in the low 1300s, like all the time. K minus walk percentage was not last in the National League. It was 13th, 7.5. However, the lowest K minus walk percentage in the National League was the Giants, who were by far the best relief corps. They pitch to contact and get a lot of guys to hit. But I mean, Tyler Rogers, you hit a ball off Tyler Rogers, it's like trying to hit a ball made out of concrete. And the last part, 15 earned runs in a span of 17 and a third innings pitched. Comments?
Yeah, where to start? Yeah, it was a week like many weeks. Unfortunately, I mean, it didn't feel like anything super out of the ordinary, to be totally honest. I think they gave up 13 runs over 10 innings of work, something like that, in the Blue Jays series the past few days. This is just the way of life right now for the Diamondbacks, Evan. I mean, they don't have Puck, they don't have Martinez, as I said earlier, and beyond that, two guys who have been really stable in their bullpen the past couple of years, and Kevin Ginkel and Ryan Thompson. Both of those guys have really been disastrous this year. I mean, Kevin Ginkel has a 13.50 ERA in 12 innings. I mean, it's not like that's 2 innings of work. Like he's allowed, I believe it's 18 runs over 12 innings of work. It's just astonishing. Juan Murillo, I think, has started to pitch better of late. He's a guy they picked up a while back, and it has kind of filled in well enough, I guess, in kind of a middle relief role. But it is a group that just does not have any kind of depth. And even though Shelby Miller has had, to his credit, a really good season, still has a 2.10 ERA. I don't know if you really want a guy who a few months ago was a non-roster invitee in spring training. Like, if that guy is who you're counting on as a closer in the ninth inning, that's probably not a great spot to be in.
Now, looking at Shelby Miller's track record over the past couple of years, because he pitched very well for the Tigers last year, Shelby Miller has excelled as a setup man.
Right.
He has not done well as a closer.
No.
And those are two completely different mindsets. Did an article a few years ago. One of the last articles I wrote at Last Word on Baseball, in fact, was why the ninth inning is the toughest 3 outs to get. And I asked 7 different people, and I got 11 different answers. So, but one that was agreed upon was that it is just a different animal. Now, Madison Bumgarner told me when he pitched the ninth, when he was doing a complete game, those were actually the 3 easiest. But he made it very clear. He's like, that's just for me. I don't know if that's for every starter, though.
Interesting.
Yeah. Now, Joe Manaply brought up a great, that's another one. Joe Manaply, who was a guy who was, he was their all-star 3 years ago, 2 years ago. He was a big part of getting them to the World Series. Now he's not playing for anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. They DFA'd
but Joe
him a while
Manaply said
back.
to me, in the ninth inning, when you're coming in, you're facing guys who are warmed up and in game shape, and you're coming in cold. He said, I don't care how much you warm up, you're still cold. He said, so that's part of it. He said, another part is if you're pitching to the 8th, 9th, and 1 hitters in the order, you're probably not going to pitch to the number 8 and number 9 guy. They're going to pinch hit. And,
right.
If a certain guy has the day off, you may face number 8 hitter, league batting champion, than the number 1 hitter. That happens too. So there's various things. But he said, yeah, setup and closing are 2 completely different animals. He made it very clear there, and he is a guy who's done both. So, moving on from the Diamondbacks to some other things in the league. You can't really comment much on Drew Pomeranz because you haven't really seen him, but Cubs middle reliever Drew Pomeranz. We have the Drew Pomeranz ticker. It is up to 25 consecutive appearances without allowing an earned run. The last time he allowed an earned run was July 27th, 2021 against the Oakland Athletics while he was with the Padres. And the last inherited runner he allowed to score came April 16th of 2021. Now, he did allow one run Friday night, but it was in the 10th inning, and the run that scored was the automatic runner, so that does not count.
Sounds like an unearned run to me.
Yeah. So, what do you think about what you've seen from afar with Drew Pomeranz?
It really is remarkable. I know you and I have discussed this in the past. Like, I figured that the Cubs bullpen was going to be a big issue for them this year. It was probably going to be the primary thing holding them back. I mean, the D-backs played the Cubs as the opening series of the year, and you never want to read too much into 4 games to start a season, but it seemed pretty obvious to me then, like, okay, this Cubs team has bullpen problems. Like, this is not going to work for them. But they've had just a number of guys kind of come out of nowhere and be really productive, and Drew Pomeranz is probably at the top of that list. I mean, it's hard to do a whole lot better than, 19 in the third innings without allowing an earned run so far this year. And I mean, Pomeranz, like, I know it's been a long time. Like, he last pitched in the majors in 2021 prior to this season, but he was pretty good. I mean, he was a highly sought after commodity when he became a free agent. I think after the 2019 season, Padres signed him. I remember at the time thinking that he would be a great get for the Diamondbacks. I guess maybe it's a good thing they didn't go that route. He certainly struggled to stay healthy after that point. But yeah, I mean, he's shown he can do it in the past, and holy cow, Evan, he's doing it right now.
Yeah. The real turning point for the Cubs pen was two-pronged. It was when they brought him in. His debut with the Cubs was April 25th. And when they moved Ryan Presley from being the closer, they moved him to middle work. Now he's the setup man again, and he's doing pretty well as a setup man. But they made Daniel Palencia the closer. Those events turned everything around, and they have just been lights out since then.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
It really is. So moving on to the next one on the list here, we have, for the first time all season, we have new number ones in the leaderboard, both for the American League closer and the National League closer. We won't say who the new number ones are yet, because that's the next segment. But that means that Andres Munoz is no longer the number one in the American League. And that means Robert Suarez is no longer the number one in the National League. You have been a little bit familiar with Munoz. Munoz didn't lose his spot because he had a bad week. He had an uneventful week. He only pitched once, and it wasn't a goose egg situation. I don't believe it was even a save situation. He pitched, oh no, it wasn't, because they lost the game. He pitched a scoreless inning against the Red Sox, gave up a hit, struck out 2. No, not a bad day. But Robert Suarez, whom you saw recently because you were filling in for AJ Cassavell this past weekend, when the Padres rolled through town, you did see Robert Suarez, and you saw one of his, shall we say, least effective outings of the year.
I think that would be fair to say.
Okay, I don't want to insult Robert because he's still a great pitcher and he's one of the top closers in the National League still, but it was not a good night for him. Go ahead and tell us more on that, please.
Yeah, I think he gave up 5 runs and he only got 1 out in that inning. It was one of the most impressive Diamondbacks comebacks this season and ever, really. D-backs have had a few crazy late comebacks this season. They seem to have a knack for that sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, it was a game that they trailed by 4 runs, and they just scored 5 runs in the 9th inning. I guess you could make a case that maybe it tripped up Suarez, that it actually wasn't a save situation. Padres had a 5-3 lead going into the 9th inning, and then they tacked on 2 runs and made it 7-3, but they still brought Suarez into the game. So, maybe there's some kind of a mental block that comes with a situation like that. But yeah, it was just, it's all fastball changeup for him, and he was just leaving both of those pitches in bad spots consistently. He was throwing strikes. It's not like he was walking the D-backs around the bases or anything, but he just made a lot of mistakes in the middle of the zone, and the D-backs offense is obviously one of the best in the league, and they made him pay for it. And I talked to him after the game, and he basically just said, I had a bad day. That's all. And maybe that explanation like didn't fully satisfy some Padres fans, but I think it's also pretty fair. I mean, like you said earlier, this is still one of the best closers in baseball, and those days are going to happen every now and then.
The Padres almost had that game won with a close play at first. Ketel Marte
Yeah.
was initially called out, but replay showed he was safe. They overturned the call. Did you see that having an effect on the Padres at all, possibly mentally? Did you see their demeanor change, their attitude, their body language, anything like that?
I don't know. That's a good question. Nothing that I noticed in the moment. I mean, I have to believe it was maybe a little bit demoralizing. But I mean, yeah, Suarez's command was really off the whole game. And the game ultimately ended on another bang bang play. Really strange play was the first pitch, left on left. Mike Schilt decided to make a pitching change, get Robert Suarez out of there. So it was left on left with Josh Naylor at the plate, and he hit a slow roller up the first baseline. And Geraldo Perdomo was not supposed to try to score from third base on that play with the infield playing in, but he went for it anyway, and he just barely beat the tag at the plate. It was a decent throw from Luis Arraez. But yeah, just sort of a swinging bunt kind of a situation. Naylor wasn't even credited with a single because Perdomo scored before Naylor even got to first base. So it was just this bizarre like ball in play. Perdomo scores, game over. And the Padres did review it, but the call was confirmed. It was pretty clear that Perdomo just barely got his hand in there.
Yeah, well, Naylor was credited with an RBI because it went down as a fielder's choice. And the pitcher on that was Adrian Morejon, the great lefty middleman, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's gotten some big outs for the Padres this year and past years as well. It was a good pitch. I mean, yeah, Josh Naylor didn't hit it very hard. But yeah, as you said, it was a fielder's choice, and it got the job done.
Morejon has been a fixture in our top 10 lists every week with the middle relievers. He's had a very nice season. Padres pen as a whole is still pretty good. They haven't had in the past week or two they haven't been as effective as they have in other weeks, but they're still overall quite good. So
Yeah.
that's quite impressive. Something else, you mentioned Suarez throwing strikes. His other really bad outing of the year was against the Angels about a month ago. And in that one, he walked a lot of guys. So this was really the first one where he got hit hard. The other thing was, in that Angels series, he gave up two on the mound and then bequeathed the bases loaded to Alec Jacob, who has not pitched well at all over the past month. And Jacob gave up a grand slam. So Suarez was only on the mound for two of them. This one,
Right.
he was on the mound for 4 out of the 5. So I think it's safe to say this was definitely his roughest outing of the season.
Yeah, and the Diamondbacks got to Suarez last year as well. It's probably worth mentioning. They strung together what appeared to be one of their best comebacks of the 2024 season. I don't remember the exact score, but I believe Alec Thomas hit a grand slam. This was a game in San Diego. And then Randall Grichuk followed it up by hitting another home run that gave the Diamondbacks a 1-run lead. I'm not sure if both homers came against Suarez, but I'm pretty sure Alec Thomas's grand slam did.
Mhm.
And then the Diamondbacks wound up losing the game anyway because Paul Sewald was unable to shut the door in the bottom half of that ninth inning, unfortunately. But there is some history between the D-backs and Robert Suarez. I mean, at this point, his career numbers against Arizona have to be totally horrendous. It has not worked out well for him in that spot.
They aren't good. I did briefly glance at them. I don't remember them, and I didn't write them down, but they aren't good. No. Now, that wasn't his only rough appearance of the week, though, because in his other appearance in the week, from June 12th to June 18th, he pitched against the Dodgers and had a broken egg because he gave up the first home run he's ever given up all season, and it was a walk-off. But in the week, his ERA minus jumped from 44 to 87. His whip jumped from 725 to 903, which is still insanely good.
Still very good.
But
Yeah.
a jump of, almost 200 points. doesn't happen all that often, you know. His scoreless outing percentage dipped from 93.3 to 87.5. Not time to sound the alarm because, again, league average 73.1, 87.5 is still insanely good. Or his 2 appearances. The Diamondback appearance, 5 earned runs, 1/3 inning pitched. His other one was 1 earned run, and that came on a homer, 1/3 inning pitched. His earned run total in those 2 games doubled his earned run total for the whole season. So instead of 6
Life is a reliever right there, right?
What's that?
Life is a reliever right there.
Bingo. But he's still a great closer, like we said. His K minus walk rate dropped 0.6 of a percentage point. Ooh! But, you know, other than that. Now, the coup de grace. We cut our stats off Wednesday night just because including Thursdays made production really way too tough. But last night, he was charged with an earned run with a huge lead, allowed 2 inherited runners to score, and got ejected for hitting Shohei Ohtani on purpose. And we found out about an hour ago he has been suspended for 3 games, although he is appealing it.
Yeah.
But here's the question, Jesse. Is it time for Padre fans to panic?
I don't think so. I mean, as you said before, Suarez, I mean, he was so unbelievably good going into this recent rough stretch that, you know, I mean, his numbers for the season are still not bad by any means. I mean, he has a 3.73 ERA, a .926 WHIP. I mean, the Diamondbacks would love to have just one more reliever of that caliber, you know, in this with this unit. So yeah, I think the Padres are one of the best teams in baseball year in, year out at building bullpens. They have a lot of other guys who are very good as well. We were talking about Morahone earlier. There are other names on that list for sure as well. So
Jason Adam,
yeah.
Jeremiah Estrada.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so, you know, is Suarez, I don't know if I ever bought into Suarez really being like a top 2, top 3 closer in baseball. Like, I think that he has a 3.04 career ERA at this point. I think that's maybe a little more in line of what I think his true ability is. But no, he's still someone you want to give the ball to in the 9th inning. This is just one of those inevitable rough patches that's going to happen over the course of 162.
Well, there you go. Well, Jesse, do you have anything to let the fans know about the teams you've covered games for, the Pens you've seen? Anything to let fans who haven't seen them yet know about them, what to look for, anything exciting to look for?
Well, I will say the team that I am next scheduled to cover for MLB.com is the San Francisco Giants. They are coming to town a week from Monday, June 30th. That series starts here in Arizona. So it will be a bit of a shock, Evan, going from covering the Diamondbacks to covering that team that has far and away the best bullpen in all of baseball, as far as I can tell. So yes, it will be a strange change of pace for me. But you know, over the course of a 4-game series, who knows what could happen, right? I mean, we saw what the D-backs just did to the Padres bullpen. So anything is possible, but this Giants team is formidable. Obviously, they have Rafael Devers now, which changes the equation offensively. And as I said before, that bullpen is really something special as well.
Anything to plug?
Yeah, I guess I have to say Snakes Territory. It's the Diamondback show that I launched with my good friend Jack Summers, our good friend Jack Summers, within the last couple of months. So yeah, you can find Snakes Territory on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you find your podcasts. If you're a D-backs fan, we do shows 3 days a week, and yeah, it's a newer thing, and we're hoping to get as many people on board as we can. So we really appreciate everyone's support.
There you go. And what's your Twitter handle one more time?
Twitter handle is at Jesse N. Friedman. You can follow me there as well for all of my musings on the Diamondbacks, as well as, you know, I guess some other topics around Major League Baseball as well.
And for those of you who came to this show because of a link Jesse put on his Twitter, thank you. Appreciate it. Well, Jesse, it was a real treat having you here. It's always a pleasure. Thanks for coming by and gracing us with your presence and your wisdom. Love to have you back soon.
Yeah, thanks, Evan. I appreciate it. Happy to be here.
All right, Jesse Friedman, one more time. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Reliever Roundup and Bullpen Bonanza. It is time for the individual power rankings. Statistics include every regular season game through the end of play on Wednesday, June 18th. To qualify for this week's rankings, there is a minimum of 16 relief appearances, and for the Goose Egg Broken Egg Plus stat, which forms the bulk of the clutch category, there is a minimum of 8 goose eggs plus broken eggs. So the sum of the two must be 8 or more. A link to our ranking methods is in the description box below this video. First is the American League Middle Relievers. Number 10 with 14.3 from the Boston Red Sox, Justin Wilson. Number 9 comes from the Detroit Tigers with 14.5, Chase Lee. Coming in 8th with 15.0 from the Baltimore Orioles, Sir Anthony Dominguez. At number 7 with 15.9 from the Cleveland Guardians, Matt Festa. In 6th with 16.2 from the Baltimore Orioles, Gregory Soto. Number 5 with 16.9 from the Detroit Tigers, Brant Hurter. Number 4 with 19.7 comes from the Kansas City Royals, Steven Cruz. At number 3 from the Houston Astros, scoring 30.2, Bennett Souza. Number 2 with 31.3, also from the Houston Astros, Steven Okert. And number 1 with 49.8 points from the Minnesota Twins, Danny Coulombe. Now the National League Middle Relievers. Number 10 with 13.2 from the Cincinnati Reds, Lyon Richardson. Number 9 from the Colorado Rockies with 14.9, Juan Mejia. Number 8 with 15.1 from the San Diego Padres, Jeremiah Estrada. At number 7 with 19.9, a fixture in this list recently, from the New York Mets, Oscar Brazoban. In 6th with 21.4 from the Los Angeles Dodgers, Ben Kasparius. Number 5 also comes from the Los Angeles Dodgers with a score of 22.3, Jack Dreyer. Number 4 with a score of 25.2 from the Chicago Cubs, Caleb Thielbar. At number 3 with a score of 32.0 from the Milwaukee Brewers, Nick Mears. At number 2 with a score of 49.9 from the San Francisco Giants, Randy Rodriguez. And number 1 with 51.0 points from the Chicago Cubs, Drew Pomeranz. No surprise there, right? Turning now to the American League setup men. At number 10 with 66.5 points from the Cleveland Guardians, Hunter Gaddis. Coming in 9th from the Minnesota Twins with 67.1 points, Griffin Jax. His dad played for the Phoenix/Arizona Cardinals, by the way. His name is Garth Jax. Back to the list. In 8th with 67.4 points from the Texas Rangers, Chris Martin. Number 7 with 68.9 points from the Tampa Bay Rays, Edwin Uceta. In 6th with 80.7 points from the Boston Red Sox, Garrett Whitlock. Number 5 with 94.8 points from the Houston Astros, Brian Abreu. Number 4 with 111.9, also from the Boston Red Sox, Justin Slayton. Number 3 with 127.9, another member of the Boston Red Sox, Greg Weissert. Number 2 with 163.9 from the Cleveland Guardians, Cade Smith. And number 1 yet again, and still by a comfortable margin, with 213.9 points from the Kansas City Royals, Lucas Erceg. Next, the National League setup men. Number 10 comes from the Cincinnati Reds with 68.8, Tony Santillan. And number 9 from the Chicago Cubs with 70.9, Brad Keller. Coming in 8th with 71.5 from the Los Angeles Dodgers, Alex Vesia. With 76.7 is our number 7 National League setup man. From the New York Mets, Reed Garrett. In 6th with 90.7 from the Philadelphia Phillies, Orion Kerkering. At number 5 with 96.3 from the San Francisco Giants, Submariner Tyler Rogers. Number 4 with 103.2 from the San Diego Padres, Jason Adam. Number 3 with 118.7 from the Chicago Cubs, Ryan Presley. At number 2 with 129.1 from the St. Louis Cardinals, Phil Maton. And number one by a significant margin with 206.8 points from the Pittsburgh Pirates, Dennis Santana. To the American League closers, number 5 from the Tampa Bay Rays, and with 94.7 points, Pete Fairbanks. At number 4 with 131.4 points from the Boston Red Sox, Aroldis Chapman. Number 3 from the Detroit Tigers with 143.7, Will Vest. Number 2 with 263.5 from the Seattle Mariners, Andres Munoz. That means he's been displaced. And our new number 1 comes from the Houston Astros with 269.4, Josh Hader. Now, when our statistics cut off, Josh Hader had yet to have a broken egg all season. Wouldn't you know, the very next day, so Thursday night, he suffered his first of the season when Nick Kurtz of the Athletics hit a walk-off home run against him in the 10th inning. And finally, the National League closers. Side note, suspended Phillies closer Jose Alvarado still has enough appearances and combined goose eggs and broken eggs to qualify, and if we included him in the ranks, he'd be number 4 with 129.0 points. Now for the rankings. Number 5 with 87.0 from the San Francisco Giants, Camilo Doval. Number 4 with 96.3 from the Colorado Rockies, Seth Halverson. Huge jump in score to number 3 from the Miami Marlins with 172.1, Calvin Fauché. Sizable jump from there to number 2 with 203.0 from the San Diego Padres, Robert Suarez. And our new number 1 with 207.7 from the New York Mets, Edwin Diaz. That concludes this installment of Reliever Roundup and Bullpen Bonanza from Sport Relay. Join us next time when we will reveal our weekly power rankings for Week 13. And please follow our new account on X, formerly Twitter, at RRBB_show. Had to put the underscore show on there because RRBB was too short. Please follow that page. It just launched today. We'd love to have as many followers on there as we could very quickly. Let's get those followers up. Spread the word about this show. We work really hard to give you some good relief pitching coverage. So please tell your friends, tell your baseball contacts, tell all of them. At any rate, shameless plug is over. I'm Evan Thompson. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time. Thank you for watching this episode. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like. Click subscribe so you'll never miss an episode of this show or of our other show, Trade Trees. Tell your friends and baseball contacts. If you haven't done so yet, consider buying my books, A Complete History of the Major League Baseball Playoffs, Volume 1 and Volume 2. There are links in the description box below this video. And finally, bookmark and regularly visit sportrelay.com. Until next time, this is Evan Thompson saying so long for now.